We're back with Have You Heard? Powered by Rude Rangers Entertainment. Great to be back with my co-hosts, Orlandina and Verdell. And we've been talking about truly listening. And so I want to, kind of take that a step further and talk about maybe some listening strategies that we can really take home with us to have some of these difficult conversations that we started to discuss before the break. And so it really all starts out, as we were saying before, with the energy you bring. If you're coming from the energy of curiosity versus coming from the energy of judgment. When you're coming from the energy of curiosity and you also are carrying the energy of empathy, you can have almost any conversation. So now when you enter the conversation and you really want to listen, that means you take away distractions. Yes, it means you're not looking at your phone. I know that's rough for all of us, for me sometimes too, actually many times, okay? So all the distractions are put aside and your eye contact and your facial expression and your body language is completely focused on the person that you are speaking with. And you are not, capital N-O-T, thinking about how you're going to respond to what they're saying. You're not freaking formulating your response because that's not listening. You are clearing your mind and fully absorbing what is being said to you. That is step one. Mm-hmm. I love how it's resonating with you, ladies. What do you think about what I'm sharing so far?
It's so true. It's so true. People are talking to you and you're just like already in your brain. I know I do it and I try and I'm aware of it. So I try to really be like to say to myself, stop trying to come up with a solution. Like listen first. Mm-hmm. Let them finish talking. Wait for that natural pause. And then if they even ask you for your opinion, sometimes people just want to talk to just have to release. They're not looking for you to fix anything. They just want to be there to listen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so difficult because you want to help so much. You're like, I just want to help, but sometimes helping is just being there.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounding board, right?
Sounding board.
Yeah.
Let people come up with their own stuff.
And I think the listening, I think there's such thing as selective listening. It's not here. Selective hearing, I get, but listening is different than hearing. Mm-hmm. But I think what happens is, I know, especially in my profession, and being an educator, I can listen really good to certain people, but certain people I just don't want to listen to.
Then you have to take out your button that says maybe you should talk to someone.
Exactly.
The analogies I give to my students, they'll say, "No, miss, I was listening." I'm like, "No, you were hearing me.
Right.
You were hearing noise coming out of my mouth. You heard sound. Yeah. I sounded like Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown, right?
You heard that.
Yeah.
But listening means you actually took the words and absorbed it.
Right.
In your ear and kind of sat in your brain. So which one was it? What was happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Listening. It is two different skill sets.
Yeah.
Two different things.
And when you are really giving somebody that gift of truly listening to them, that right there is a healing process beginning. When somebody really feels heard, I mean, if we think about it on a daily basis, how often do we really feel heard when we speak? Many people go day after day without feeling heard, sometimes more than that. We talk and like you said, Orlandina, somebody hears the noise, but are they truly listening? So when you're truly listening, the healing starts right there and you're really building a bond and a connection and setting the stage for a really successful conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when you're listening, your response, rather than whatever you might have been conjuring up in your mind before you learned these strategies, now what you're going to do is simply reflect back what you've heard the person share with you. Summarize it in your own words and check that you're right. Check that you got it right. So right there, you're getting on the same page. So first of all, when you kind of summarize what you heard them say, you're giving the person evidence that you are listening. Right there, they know that you are listening. Mm-hmm. And you're giving them a chance to say, well, that's not exactly what I meant. Right. And they can tweak it. They can add to it. They can correct it. So it might feel a little uncomfortable at the beginning, but if you get in the habit of really just summarizing what you've heard somebody say, it can be a really, really effective listening tool. And it helps us to kind of focus during those moments. So our mind doesn't start wandering to, what am I going to have for dinner? or, how am I going to refute that point? Right. It's just, all I'm going to do is say what I heard.
Right.
Yeah. Sure what do you think, Verdell?
With the listening part, because I love that you said there's such a distraction. My counselors, they tease me because they'll be talking to me about something. What do we need to do with this? What do we need to do with this? And all of a sudden my brain will go this way and I'm like, what am I going to have for dinner?
Yeah.
And and I say it out loud and they know it. So they actually developed a strategy. One of my counselors in particular has developed a strategy where he'll just pick up his fingers, like over here.
That's cute. That's a cute rapport you have.
Right. Stay here.
Right here.
Right here.
Because it's because our lives are so busy and we're thinking about 10,000 things. I know some nights I can hardly get to sleep because I'm thinking about what I have to do the next day.
Oh,
so it is that listening, and you have to just take, and I can do it with the students. Because that I just feel that I can do it. I can do that. But sometimes with other people, even, in a relationship, it's very hard to stay focused. But I think you need to be very cognizant of it and methodical about your listening.
Yes.
You have to.
It's kind of about setting the intention.
Yeah.
So not just kind of going through the day haphazardly, I'm listening, I'm not, but like before the conversation, I'm going to really focus and listen right here.
Yeah, you have
and then when we're listening, what we want to be listening for is not just the information that the person is sharing, because of course we want to be hearing that. We want to be listening sort of behind what they're sharing. So we want to be listening for their emotion.
Yeah.
We want to be listening for their energy. We want to be listening for their, the qualities and characteristics that are becoming evident about them as they're sharing. Again, from a place of curiosity, not judgment. So I might identify from talking with you that family's really important to you. So you might be telling me a story about what you cooked for dinner, but what I'm getting from it is how important family is for you. So that's what you want to be listening behind the words, for emotions, for values, for energy. And that's going to tell you so much more than just the words themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you ladies think about that?
I remember taking a undergraduate class. I went to the American University, the School of International Service. And the reason why I'm saying that is because my major in undergrad was international relations and communication. And I remember taking a class called cross-cultural communication. And we talked about topics such as communication among gender, communication among age groups, communication among cultures, obviously, communications across I think I said gender, but also race, how the communication styles are different. And I remember they were talking about how communication is not just the words that we speak, but also the energy, what is unspoken.
Right.
Not only just what's spoken, but what is unspoken. For example, your culture is not just what we see, but Edward T. Hall had this iceberg model. The culture is culture's not, we just see a little bit, but your culture runs deep.
Yes.
So just understanding where people are coming from when they're speaking to you, it means that you have to be present when they're speaking. And I definitely have to work at that. That's something like I'm good at it sometimes, and other times like my brain is like you said, what am I gonna wear?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, it's part of the human condition.
It
It's
is.
part of the human condition, and it's an ongoing journey and process. It's all about building the awareness, as you say. Awareness is the first step towards any positive change.
Absolutely. Knowing that you're doing it. I listened to a talk show host in the morning called, his name is Joe Madison. And he also he talks about listening with the third ear. And that's kind of what we're saying, looking at with the third eye and listening with the third
Yes.
ear. Because there are you can gain a lot of insight if you listen. And I think sometimes things are lost on people because they don't really listen, and they don't listen with that third ear, so to speak.
Yeah.
They really don't, and it's just what you said, that energy and what they're really saying, as opposed to what's coming out of their mouth.
Yeah, and I think when you're having a difficult conversation, when you're in disagreement,
Yeah.
we can train ourselves to be thinking as the person is talking, what positive quality can I identify about this person? What's a positive characteristic or quality, trait that I can recognize? I like to call it being a good quality hunter. Like you got to put on your hunting gear, and with some people you got to hunt harder than others.
Like that.
You really got to clear out the weeds.
It's a safari.
Put the branches aside. Get on that safari. For any person, as much as you might dislike them, there is something positive you can identify. And then when you're listening,
Everybody.
everybody. I'm gonna set up a challenge for us, everybody, until we do our next show. Identify one thing in your mind. Are you all with me out there? I want to see in the comments.
Right.
You got to keep up with us
Yeah.
and tell us what positive qualities you found in people,
You have to.
even the people that you thought you didn't like.
Yes.
So I may be losing track of time here a bit, and I think we need to go to a commercial break. Am I right, Orlandina and Verdell?
Yeah, but this is a good topic. I get it.
I lost the time. Yikes.
But tell us what positive qualities, because this is gonna be good. What positive qualities have you found in people that you weren't a fan of?
Oh,
You can make something up, Orlandina. You can make it up. They have a good smile.
A positive quality you might find is you might recognize that they're very determined. You might not like them. You might not like a lot of things about them, but an example might be that they're very determined.
Persistent.
You might even find the quality, you might not like them, but maybe they have a certain charisma that attracts people.
Yeah,
So,
I could think of somebody. I'm not going to say it, but yes, that's what happens.
Yeah. We're not naming names.
Not naming names.
Not anything, but you know what? That's a good activity. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Let's do it. And you guys, you all have to help us out here. We want to see it in the comments.
Absolutely.
So you're listening to Have You Heard? Powered by Rude Rangers.